everyone, and welcome to our Ask the Practitioner by Biointegrative Health Center. I'm Jen Boscovich, and I'm one of our new advanced practitioners of homeopathy. So I'd like to welcome all of you and thank you for joining me tonight. We have a few questions, so we'll have some things to talk about. We have the Q&A and the chat form. So if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to use either of those. I will do my best to keep up with the time that we have. So again, welcome. I'm happy to have you here, and I'm happy to be a part of the Biointegrative Health Center family. I started working with our office a little over probably a year and a half ago now, and I made a huge transition from Western medicine into alternative medicine, and I'll give you a little bit about my background and my story, and then I'll get to your questions. So pretty much I've been working in the emergency department, and I was also working as a forensic nurse. I could see that in the emergency room, or sometimes I would consult with different departments outside, like the forensic homicide unit. For instance, I could be a nurse consultant for them. So I had a lot of black and white training, and then at some point in time, my health started failing, and I was going to doctor after doctor, and we were running tests and not getting a lot of answers. I actually had to have several surgeries, one pretty major surgery, until we were able to find out that I had this rare genetic disorder. And pretty much we exhausted all efforts in Western medicine, and I wasn't getting better. I was up to 5 prescription medications, and the doctors were wanting to just do more surgeries on me. And I knew that there was a better answer. Intuitively, I knew that I wasn't on the right path. And so I started really diving into alternative options and alternative medicine and trying to learn and figure things out, because I knew there had to be a better way and a different way. And it was such an amazing experience, because I ran into things that worked. I ran into things that didn't work. I ran into things I've never heard of that I didn't even know existed on this planet, which was kind of fun. And but what I noticed is I started getting better, and using such a more natural approach and a more, alternative, meaning, not necessarily surgery and prescription drugs. And I've actually come off of all of my prescriptions. I'm actually transitioning off of one this week, which is exciting. So I'll be down to 1 prescription drug, which is just amazing. And, everything else is supplements, and I look better, I feel better than I did for years. And so I have some friends that I ran into recently. I haven't seen them for a while, and they said, "Jen, you're aging backwards. How are you doing that?" And I'm not aging backwards. I wish I was, and I wish I had that secret, because we would all be happy people. However, I'm just getting healthy again, and my health was just rapidly declining. And I was eating healthy and working out and taking care of myself. It just wasn't the right fit for my body. And that's really the main thing that alternative medicine helped me pull into my life, is finding different ways. And what is healthy for one person still might not be healthy for another. So there's there's so many different avenues to go. And I know how frustrating it can feel to hit a point where you feel like you've exhausted all efforts, and the doctors are starting to suggest it's all in your head, and you just feel you feel kind of alone and frustrated, and you don't feel good. And that's really a terrible feeling to have. And so the one message I like to get across to people who find themselves in a situation like this is there's always more avenues to explore. There's always more alternative treatments than just what your primary doctor might know, or what they're able to tell you at the hospital. Now, I love medicine, and I love physicians of all shapes and sizes. So don't get me wrong, I'm not slamming Western medicine and traditional medicine. I just think there's a time and place for all of it. And my favorite thing is what we do at our office is integrative medicine. We use the prescription drugs when we need to, and we use the homeopathic and the more natural stuff usually first. And oftentimes we don't need to take those next steps into, the prescription drugs as much, because we're able to help people get better. And that's really what medicine is all about, is helping people to improve their health. So again, thank you guys for joining me. And I'm really excited to be a part of the Biointegrative Healthcare Center family. And I'm going to move on to some of our questions and see what we have in store tonight. So thank you. So what drew you to healthcare, and how did you start in healthcare? Oh, what drew me to healthcare? I would say that I had a feeling I would be doing something in medicine, or something to help children. I've known that since I was a child. I've always wanted to help people. And I was always that little girl. Like, if a friend got hurt, I was taking them into the teacher and helping them get a Band-Aid and ice for their knee. I was always helping take care of my sister and my cousins. I come from a pretty big family, so there was always lots of people around and always somebody who needed something. It's just kind of my nature. And in college, actually, I thought maybe that I wanted to be a kindergarten teacher. So I spent a day in a classroom with 35-year-olds and decided that I'm definitely made for healthcare. I think teachers are amazing, and healthcare just fits my personality much better. I love kids. I think they're incredible. And I worked, actually, my very first job was in a pediatric hematology oncology unit. I've also worked in a pediatric only emergency room, and we were a big center for a tri-state area. So we had we were the cancer center, the burn center, and the trauma center for pediatrics. So we had all sorts of really cool cases and stuff sent into that facility. So I got a lot of really cool experience really early on in my career. And being a nurse for sure was my very first career choice, and it was an excellent fit for my personality. I think lots of people choose their careers for lots of different reasons, but healthcare and being a nurse and helping people get better is just something that I'm really passionate about. And you'll always see that in my work. I will always do everything I can to help people feel better and get through things. So thank you for that question. Steve, what is integrative medicine? So integrative medicine is actually where we're using different schools of thought and different modalities. So integrative medicine just means that we're integrating. So maybe we're using a little bit of homeopathy, a little bit of Chinese medicine, a little bit of Western medicine, and we're going to come up with a plan of care for you specifically. And I think that's really the biggest thing, is that we're able to use a blend of different, there's different schools of thought, there's different theories behind each modality, and we're able to kind of take the best of each piece to make a very customized plan for you and for your healthcare. So I love that part of integrative medicine, because we can see 3 people with heart disease, and the plan that each one of our patients will get is very specific to their body and their needs and what's happening with their health. So I love this part of our practice. So thank you for that question, Steve. Martin, what is homeopathy? So homeopathy is actually, it is a medicine that was founded a long time ago by a man named Samuel Hahnemann, and he's from Germany. And he started realizing that all of the regular treatments and medicines and things that they were doing seemed to be making people sicker. And he started testing, a lot of testing on himself, herbs and things from nature that were more gentle. And he started seeing a correlation between certain plants and illness. And so if there's a plant that a healthy person would take, for instance, that created nausea, well, he discovered that if you're healthy and take it, it makes you nauseous. If you are sick and nauseous and you take that same herb, it helps cure the nausea. And so there's the theory behind homeopathy. One of them is like treats like. And so it works very well. And it's amazing how quickly kids respond to homeopathy. I'm using that on my little guy right now. And it's just making such a huge difference for us. So I love it. It's gentle, it's way safer, and it's such a great first step before you start diving into, Western medicine and prescription drugs, at least in my opinion. As a mother, that's been an amazing approach for us. So Dan, you were drawn to alternative medicine as a patient because of your medical condition. What keeps you here as a practitioner? Well, kind of like what drew me to healthcare initially was my passion for helping people help people heal and find the road to recovery. But I'll tell you, now that I've been a patient, and I'm ongoing treatments and things like that myself for my condition, but I think that I have such a broader understanding of what it means to honestly to feel terrible and to feel sick and to feel frustrated and almost at times desperate for answers. And I think that offers me an advantage to relating to our patients. And that's a lot. We see, I would say probably half of our patients come into our practice that way. And so I'm passionate about helping people with something that I've personally been through. Even though all of our situations might be different, I'm able to relate, and that seems to be comforting to a lot of our patients. So that's definitely part of what keeps me around. And there's nothing more rewarding than finding a person who's been told by conventional medicine that they're wheelchair bound, and I've seen this case, and they send in a thank you letter and a photo of them finishing a marathon saying, this is what you guys helped me achieve. And so getting better is possible. And I think it's just that, and knowing that you can make a difference in someone's life is so rewarding to me. I don't foresee me ever leaving this career. Okay, so Bill, what are the limitations that you see of the alternative approach? That's a great question. I don't know that that I would consider the alternative approach a limitation, any of it a limitation, but I think there's one piece that I find commonly can feel very frustrating, even from the patient side of things, or especially from the patient side of things, is that the alternative approach, how it works is it's natural and it's gradual. Most people did not get sick overnight. They got sick over time. And so the road to recovery in alternative medicine is sometimes you get worse before you get better, and getting better is slow. It's not like, oh, I took a pill and my pain is gone. And I think that's what the appeal to people gravitating towards Western medicine is they feel better right away. Did it fix the problem? Usually it fixes the symptom. And the cool thing about alternative medicine is that we are we are digging to find the root cause of what's going on with you. And we are trying to, he absolutely heal every step of the way. And a lot of times that is something that takes a little bit of time. It's a progression of healing. And that can be frustrating, especially when we see people who've been sick for years and, they feel like giving up, and then they end up at our office. And, I understand it's been a long road, but that usually what you see is our improvements are slow. They may be gradual, but they're usually permanent. And because what you're doing is truly healing. So I would say, again, I wouldn't consider it a limitation. It's just how it works. But that might be one of the drawbacks to the alternative approach. If you're looking for a quick fix, oftentimes you're not going to find that. But it's definitely going to help things improve and help you heal long term, which to me is, that's our end game, right? Is to have a fulfilling quality life. And doing that on 5 prescription drugs doesn't always give us what we're looking for. So that was a great question. Thank you. Okay, can you talk about a case besides yourself that you're personally aware of where the alternative approach has been beneficial? And that's from Roxanne. Roxanne, I love your question, and there's hundreds of them. I've personally seen quite a few, and there's really so many. So I've seen, I'll share a few personal experiences in our office. I can't say names or anything, obviously, but there's one famous patient that if you've been in our office getting drips and stuff, you'll hear about a lot. But I want to talk about this patient because her story is so powerful. I'll share a few with you. So this was in, obviously this was in the practice before I was part of it. I have met this patient. She is still alive and still doing well, but she was diagnosed with breast cancer. I believe it was stage 4 breast cancer in the 90s. And many of us know back in the 90s, stage 4 breast cancer was not survivable at all. Actually, this is where a lot of the breast cancer awareness and foundations that raise money to support breast cancer research have come because of the 90s. There was such there was such a poor prognosis for women with this diagnosis, and through alternative medicine, no conventional treatment at all, she was able to cure her cancer and not just survive but thrive. She's still alive. I don't want to get her age wrong, but I believe she's in her 80s, possibly. I think it's mid to later 80s. And that's just amazing because that was unheard of. You don't have breast cancer survivors who are in their 80s who were diagnosed in the 90s. You just don't see that. I've seen some pretty amazing cases with MS and Lyme disease. There's one in particular, the marathon girl I mentioned. I believe she had MS. There's another patient specifically that I have in mind who was diagnosed with Lyme disease, and we were able to follow an alternative protocol. And this patient went from feeling so fatigued and had so much joint pain that she was not going to work. She wasn't making it to work. She wasn't having much of a social life anymore. And her treatment was probably around 7 months. And she's a completely different human now. She works on her farm. She's got a new relationship, and I believe they're getting married soon. It's an absolute success story. I know we don't see children as much, but we do see children in the office. And I love this story that we see family. So there's grandparents who are taking care of their grandson. And we see all of them, and we do treatments on all of them. The grandson has autism. And he was getting to the point where his behavior was starting to become a problem at school, and he was having some, trouble with his teachers and the schooling, and they were talking to the family about putting him on medication. And instead of putting him on medication, they brought him to our office for some treatments. And after 10 treatments, no one knows better than the family or the patient themselves, right? The grandparents will tell you that he's a completely different child. He's manageable. There's no letters coming home from the teachers. He's getting schoolwork done. Just to me, that's a huge success. Is he still autistic? Yes. Will he be probably for the rest of his life? Most likely. Did we help and significantly improve his experience and his quality of life? Significantly, hands down, no doubt. And some of these, it's just amazing. It's amazing to work with these patients and hear these stories and see them for myself, because every day I'm reminded of how much we can contribute to people's lives. And that's just so rewarding. So thank you for that question, Roxanne. Could you talk more about biointegrative and what makes them unique? And that's by Susan. Thank you, Susan. Yes, I think Biointegrative Health Center, our founding physician is Dr. Cora Ibarra. Many of the patients know her as Dr. Cora. She is an MD and an HMD, and she's been training in homeopathy and alternative medicine since the 80s. And her story is hers to tell, but I believe it's similar to mine in the sense that she wasn't getting better, and she had some health issues going on, and the thing that fixed her and helped her improve was alternative medicine. It made her a believer, and it made her just thirsty for knowledge. She's trained with some of the best physicians on the planet. She's trained all over the world. And so I would say, one, making us totally unique is just having Dr. Cora and all of her experience. She's been able to bring in not just traditional homeopathy, but she's trained in Germany and Dubai, and she's trained under traditional Chinese medicine, and there's so many different modalities that she's able to bring to the office, and so much incredible experience. So that's definitely one of our huge assets, is having her knowledge base. And another thing that I think makes Biointegrative just stand out from so many others is our IV room. And our IV room took me to be like, I had to see it to believe it. I still, even though I was all into alternative medicine and making this huge transition in my life, I was still classically Western medicine trained. And I started learning that the gentle and more natural approach was what was healing people. So I'm like, well, then why are we doing IVs? I want to see this, and I've seen it, and I felt it as we all get IVs, all the staff, we're all believers in this stuff. Actually, we all bug our doctor to get us, hey, it's time for my IV, because it makes such a big difference. And really, our IV room, so there's a couple of things, because I believe there's a few IV rooms in town. But what we have, one is Dr. Melvin Nario, and I lovingly call him our mad scientist. And Dr. Nario is just, his passion is figuring out all of these new things and concoctions. And I will tell you, almost every patient that walks in that door does not just have a cookie cutter IV. They have an IV that's custom to them, their medical problem, and their needs. And really what the IVs do is they help, depending on what you're getting an IV for. So let's say a vitamin IV. We're infusing your body with a bolus of nutrients that your body needs, and it gives you an extra chance to uptake a lot more than you can with then taking like vitamin C, for instance, as a pill in the morning. It has to get through your digestion. Half of us with big medical problems, don't have very good digestion, and that becomes a whole nother, malabsorption issue and things on its own. So getting customized IVs that help give your body nutrients, that help your body detox and pull out toxins and things like that, is just absolutely incredible. And our IV room it stands out. It is far superior than any other office that I've seen. And it definitely sets us apart and makes what we're doing pretty fun and special. So thank you, Susan, for that question. Are there general preventative treatments or things that you would recommend everyone consider for their long-term health? And that's from Mitzi. Thank you, Mitzi. Yeah, that's a good question. I'm still coming off of the conversation of the IV room. I would definitely say the IV therapies, and that would be tied with the acupuncture that we offer. That's kind of, I can also add this to you, Susan. Another part of what makes us unique, and another part of the general preventative treatments I would recommend to everyone, is also the acupuncture. Our acupuncture, there's different types of acupuncture, and some will say, okay, I'm going to acupuncture for my headaches, or I'm going to acupuncture for my knee pain. And those are really common things that people will go see acupuncture for. That is specific for, it's a certain type of acupuncture for the knee pain, or it's a specific type of acupuncture for the headache. Well, the acupuncture that we do is rebalancing your whole system. We're getting down to the whole, where we heal mind, body, spirit. And that's truly how you're going to heal those chronic ailments, is addressing all three of those areas. And so the acupuncture that we offer is amazing, because it really helps you start doing that, because so many people start feeling stuck. Well, how do I heal the spirit, or how do I heal the mind and spirit to make the body do what we need it to do? And that's where there's other things obviously that can come into play with that, but acupuncture is one of those huge ones that I think just general preventative treatment of our balancing acupuncture, our yin and our yang, that's 2 sessions, 2 different treatments, can really make a humongous difference in someone's health. And then, we do have a general treatment for IV therapy, and it can look a little different for everyone. You can make it specific to you. Typically, your body's going to tell you when you need another IV. And so for some people, especially those who are really sick and have a lot of healing to do, you're going to see that they need 2 IVs a week, and they're in there twice a week. Some people it's once a week, some it's once a month. Sometimes once a month is all people can afford. And it's really, you have to find the timing that works for you, but staying on top of your immune system, helping your body, detox some of the heavy metals and things like that, and the toxins. It's so much work on our bodies that getting that extra assistance can help keep things from spiraling out of control in our physical health. So the IVs, I cannot tell you enough how much I believe in them and how helpful they can be. So that was a great question. Thank you, Mitzi. Andrew, what do you do for your personal wellness? That's a great question. And I have a lot of things actually that I do for my personal wellness, Andrew. I start every day with a glass of warm lemon water, and then to follow up usually with a green smoothie. I do believe that blending up the nutrition, especially in the morning, is a gentle way for me personally, to wake up my digestive system and help me to get in as much nutrients as possible for my day. I have a regular meditation and yoga practice. Those two, there is no way that I could possibly that I could possibly live my life without my meditation or my yoga practice. They have absolutely changed so much of my experience that it has been absolutely invaluable to me. And I would say those are probably the big things, and a regular IV. An IV like once or twice a month is also a huge part of my plan. It has made such a big difference with my experience in life, even the food I can eat. I'm able to eat more food, kind of like other people. I don't have to be, I really had to be on a very strict regimen for a long time. So that was that's really opened my experience again, and I'm able to socialize more, because I don't have to be so strict with my food. So that's definitely a huge part of my wellness. And is integrative medicine just for grown-ups? And that's from Cooper. No, Cooper, we are open for everybody. We treat, just kind of like we treat the whole body, we treat everybody. So we've seen young kiddos. I've seen toddlers in our office. I've seen a lot more kids lately too, up to great grandma in the office. We see generations of families, and that kind of makes it fun too, because we're able to treat everyone from the whole spectrum. And of course, we don't recommend IV therapies to children, but there's still a lot of different treatments and things that we can offer the little kiddos. So that makes it pretty family friendly. We can definitely treat the whole family. So thank you all for your questions today. I've really enjoyed our time together. And it doesn't look like we have any other questions in the chat. So I want to thank you all for joining me. I've really, it's nice getting to know all of you as well. And I look forward to our next webinar. And I hope you guys all stay safe and stay healthy. And we'll talk soon. Thank you.